Get figured out. Okay, bye-bye. Oh. 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. First item will be roll call.
Turkey.
Here.
Gray.
Here.
Now.
Here.
Mead.
Here.
Walker.
Here.
Webb.
Here. Say pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to take a moment of silence if they like. Take a motion to approve the agenda. So second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Everyone's had a chance to look over the previous minutes. If there are no additions or corrections, they'll stand approved as presented. We have no visitors and there was no public comment sent in, so we'll move on to officers' report, the anchor point report.
All right, page 3. I don't think you guys ever saw the end of December, so I put both December and January in sales tax. The first page 3 is 2024 for the year. It was $4,053,400. I mean, said that wrong. That was right. $4,053,456.80. That was $261,834 more than 2023, and it was about a 7% increase. For January, it was down. January was $316,706. Last year was $342,277. So it's down about $25,000 so far this year, or about 7.78%. Any questions on any of that? Page 5 is the bank balances as of the 23rd, and then as of the previous report, which was all the way back in November. And then the second half there is year-over-year changes. Pages 6. A lot of them this time because it's so long. Through 18 is the check register. Through that. We're going to jump over to the handouts now. So the first one is the budget versus actual overview. So this is for the year ended in December. This is the overview in total for the year. Actual in the first column, budget, variance, and then percentage of budget. So you can see there the revenue was up $1 million over last year. $688,000 was from service fees, so that was from billing. Sales tax was up to $248,000. GMT was down a little bit, and then we had some, just various little increases, the education EMT class, some donations, and then the Windsor annual payment. Again, that was a one-time event. Next year it won't be like that, so. Down in expenses, overall, it was under budget, $997,000. So favorable variance of $2 million approximately. So we're gonna go through the details on the next few pages. And you can see there I kind of highlighted the different colors. Green means it was a favorable variance. Yellow are the ones that were over budget, and we'll probably need to do a budget amendment for 2024. So medical supplies, oxygen, and that's down dramatically now since January. And then, so at the bottom of the next page, you see the retirement contributions. I have that in green, and then payroll is in yellow. So last year, after the budget was done, labor negotiations were completed and kind of flip-flopped that amount of money. So that's why we'll have to amend the budget to decrease retirement and increase payroll. But overall, total employee expenses were under budget, $216,000.
So that 216,000 expressed as a percentage of the total would be?
So, I mean, it was 96% of budget, so about 4% under budget.
Okay.
And some of that came from health insurance, some of that came from just the difference in the retirement was more than a difference in wages. If I remember correctly, yeah, 189,000 went down and wages were up 102. And then overall, operating expenses were about 90% of budget. So that was a favorable variance as well. Now, a lot of that is coming from the capital. So we had budgeted for the building and we spent a good chunk of that. We spent $211,000 of the $845 that was budgeted, but there's still $633. And then, of course, we know the budget increased again for 2025. So that's a big chunk of that $1 million there. Any questions on that?
For you, but just from I want to say 5 or 6 months ago, or no, maybe it's during the fair time. So I was looking at the special events.
Mm-hmm.
Did we decide that we wanted to come up with a amount to cap it at? Remember we had that discussion, so I just didn't know if we want to put that on the agenda for next meeting, or that had nothing to do with your result rate thinking. Yeah, I just saw that when I was going through it. Yeah. So I don't know if you want to revisit that at some time.
It'd be worth talking about it again.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Okay, if there's no any questions on that, then the actual financial report is in blue, which is basically the same information we just went over. The first page is the balance sheet, and it's this year versus last year. I'm gonna work on these reports a little bit more, unless you guys don't want to see it. Do you want to see the variances and the percentages? Is that helpful for you guys? Okay. Okay. So assets, liabilities, net equity, basically, what is on the balance sheet. And then the income statement is the same numbers basically from the budget versus the actual. But just looking at it kind of year over year, 24 versus 23, instead of comparing it to the budget.
So if we were to go back 5 years and put a trend line for income and a trend line for expenses, they're still running roughly parallel, aren't they?
I would guess so, but without doing it,
We're not doing this,
no.
and we're not in danger of crossing, so.
No, we did increase income when we brought billing in-house, that increased income dramatically. So income probably is a steeper incline than expenses for just last year. And I don't foresee that continuing.
The reason I'm
It's just a
saying
switch.
is year over year is fine, but when you look at the long-term trend and the
Mhm.
community looks at those lines, if it's getting too far apart, why don't you roll the tax rate
Mhm.
back? If we're in danger of crossing, what are you doing? You're not managing your money right. So that's what I'm asking. Are we staying roughly parallel? That's all.
Mhm. I mean, it's gonna, so for 2025 with the building, it's gonna be the opposite. Income's kind of, I think, gonna plateau and expenses are gonna go up because of that
We're gonna
building.
close that gap, but we're gonna build another asset into the system
Correct.
and expand, and it's an investment that is gonna increase our capacity to serve the community. It's justifiable.
Correct.
But if those lines are all over, but they're roughly, we've been, okay.
And then I think you'll see expenses increase again when you staff the station, you've got insurance, you've got, you know, utilities, you've got a whole nother station to pay for. So I think you'll see expenses.
Well, I don't know what everybody
increase.
else is hearing, but I always hear, they got too damn much money over there. And I say, well, we got some pretty good expenses too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, then also the positions, right? Aren't we adding another billing position?
It's budgeted, yes, it's
Budgeted,
budgeted
okay.
for.
Okay.
Any other questions on those reports? And I do have the by class, but I guess I forgot to send that, so I'll email you guys that. But basically, I'll tell you how it came out. So for Windsor, it was in the black about 85,000 for 2024.
That's always good.
Okay, now back to the packet, sorry. Page 19 is the AP aging summary, and then the details follow. Any questions on any of those bills? That specialty, we didn't get that bill until last week, I think, maybe 2 weeks ago.
And we will be adding hand heavy.
Sorry,
We'll be adding the hand heavy.
it was already paid.
Okay, I gotta remember if we added it.
Yeah, hand teddy was already paid. There's no other questions, that's
Any questions or anybody like anything different about the reports?
So
It's just a
that,
different format.
it's the same report, but I don't do that report anymore.
No, yeah, I just, no,
So that's
that's
why
why,
I just stopped.
I like the way it looks.
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's actually the same report. It's just- Yeah, it might have been printed a different way, but it's the
That's
same
what I
report.
thought,
So I will be doing a little tweaking on the reports, to get, you know, some of the other information. So there's some things you guys had, you said you didn't want anymore. So I took those out, but if you want some sort of kind of KPI reports or graphs and things like that, we can add that in. Just let me know what you're looking for. We can get those added in.
I go back again month to month and year to year is nice, but every now and then I'd like to see what the long-term trends are, because when you deal with public, their position is built on their perception over many years.
Mhm.
And my ammunition is only month to month or year to year, so.
And not that it changes anything, but you can see all the years anybody can go to the state auditor's office and see every year. So,
Those
I mean, it's not for you
Those
to go
aren't the
look.
same people that talk to me.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, if they're looking for information, it is out there. And the reports are out there, so there is information out there, but feel free to ask me if you need something else.
I move we approve the payment of outstanding bills.
Favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. We have no unfinished business, new business, employee handbook updates.
All right, so on page 24, the first thing you'll see is the organizational chart. We had to make some modifications to it to encompass the training division captain that we added last year, and then to rearrange it after Jamie left, so everybody matches up with who they belong to. So that's the first one. It's a pretty easy one. Actually, all of them are fairly easy. On to page 25, supply officer, basically, we're just changing the names of the titles. That's what this was. We were called this previously, but when we did the initial collective bargaining agreement, they had changed the names in there, so we changed the names to match the agreement, and so we're just gonna change it back. And they made those changes in the agreement as well, so. So that's the only thing that changes there. Same for page 28, the fleet manager, we're just changing the name. And then for 31, it's the same thing again, just changing the name. That will take us to absenteeism. One of the things, consecutive absences must be reported a day prior, no later than 1,700 hours or 5 o'clock. So if you call in the first day of your shift, if you're not going to be here the second day, we're asking them to call in at 5 o'clock, so we have time to try to recover it for the next day. So we added that into the policy.
So if they wake up sicker than a dog,
Well, I mean, those things happen, and we basically look for when it is a trend and it happens over and over and over again. But this will be on the second day. So if you called in sick the first day and of your 48-hour shift, and then we're getting ready for day 2, I would hope that if you already called in for the first day, you'll hopefully know at 5 o'clock that you're probably not going to make it into the second day.
Could we correct the typo there?
Yeah, sure.
The then should be then.
Oh, yes.
It used to be 4 hours prior to shift start, and so we're trying to mitigate finding coverage earlier, because shift starts at 8. If they called in at 4, it's kind of hard to find coverage at 4 in the morning. So, yeah.
it's like a substitute teacher calling you at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing I saw was, I know it goes back and forth between just talking about absenteeism, and then it goes specifically into being sick, but if you follow the outline, when you go to 2F, verbal two-way communication, it is the sick employee's responsibility, but shouldn't that just be the employee's responsibility?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. That's those are the only things on that page. The next one is electronic patient care reporting. The rule that we had on a time frame to complete reports was vague. Immediately after the call, well, my immediate, your immediate, and his immediate are going to be different immediate, so we put a time on it so that all reports shall be completed within 24 hours following the call, before the end of shift or before shift change, whichever comes first. And then, of course, the exception to the rule must be specifically approved by committee staff. So that's if there was an issue with the report or there's an issue with the system and you can't get your report done, you need to talk to one of us in order to leave and not have it completed. Which rarely ever happens, by the way, but it has happened.
And the shifts are how long?
Well, 24 or 48.
So if you have it, if you have called 1 minute into your shift, you've got 23 hours and 59 minutes to complete that.
Correct.
That would be rare, wouldn't it? But other than that, you never even get close to 24 hours because it says, or by the end of the shift, which would come first.
Right.
In the. Okay.
On page 37 is leave of absence. The only thing that we changed in there will be on page 41. And that would be we added aunt and uncle to bereavement. We've had several instances where this has come up, and Flo and I both agree that probably ought to add them to that. Page 42. Now this is the one where there's quite a bit of changes, but and I'm gonna let Flo talk about the vacation part of this because he was the one that sat down and really thought this out about how this would work. And basically, the sum of what he's gonna say is this is to help us during the summer months when everybody's out of school and we're taking family trips and everybody's trying to take vacation all at the same time. This is to try to help alleviate that issue and give everybody an opportunity to pick the time they want to take and still not create an event where we have to start to deny people's time and stuff like that. So, Flo, I'll let you talk about that part.
Yeah, no problem. So this came after, actually last summer, we had 4 or 5 instances where we had to deny vacation. We just had too many people take off and we didn't have enough people to cover that vacation. So I started looking around. A lot of fire departments, they do vacation bids. So basically they start either December the year prior, or sometimes they do a 2-month, they do December and January, you bid your vacation. And that's basically kind of what I mimicked this off of. So starting December, you submit your vacation request for the next year. At that point in time, you can take up to 96 hours. So that will be 2 weeks between May and August. And that's when most kids are out of school. And that's where we kind of ran into the most problems. You can put a vacation bid at any time of the year, and it basically goes by seniority. And after that, after December 31st, everything is approved, then it's first come, first serve. What we used to have is our old policy stated that vacation was divvied out by seniority. So, and I thought that was unfair because if somebody plans ahead and they give you, 4 months time to try to find a replacement for their vacation, and somebody, just because they have more seniority, puts it in a month prior, I don't think that person that tried to plan ahead should be kicked from their vacation usage. So that kind of gives people the opportunity to plan ahead. It gives us the opportunity to make selections. We can do a maximum of 2 paramedics and 2 EMTs. That basically, if we can't cover 1 truck, it still keeps us above our minimum staffing. And I can always find 1 crew to staff that truck. So even if 2 paramedics and 2 EMTs take off, we can only find 1 crew to replace that and keep us above that minimum staffing. So that's kind of basically what this says. You do your picks between December 31st and 31st the year prior. You can do a maximum 96 hours, can be submitted between May 1st and September 1st. And basically a maximum of 2 paramedics and 2 EMTs will be approved for that. So anything on or after the 1st will be approved by submission date. So, and anything else, like we're doing now, has to be put in the 15th the month prior. If you put in something for March, it has to be in by March 15th for April. So that's the latest.
Next thing is on page 43.
Can we go back to that there? F1. To me, that should probably read vacation requests submitted between December 1 and December 31, or from December 1 to December 31.
I was thinking the same thing.
All right, under sick time on page 43, we just said excessive absences. We never really put a number on what excessive is. And I felt like it needed to be crystal clear what we deem to be excessive. So we added this and it says, as a staff member with excessive absences, 6 24-hour shifts is what would be excessive in a calendar year. And then we're going to strike out what's written there. I like this better, may be subject to disciplinary action.
Okay, so is 6 the maximum allowable, or is 6 the one that triggers?
6 is what triggers.
We need to make that crystal clear too, then. That the 6th absence is deemed excessive. Is that? I don't want anybody to misread that. So I thought I could do 6 before I was excessive, or 7, or 5, or whatever your number is, but it just needs.
And then,
Excuse me on that, if, I'm assuming we would make some exceptions if someone had a spouse that was getting cancer treatments or.
yeah, I mean, and so this isn't for somebody that's got to take FMLA or anything like that. You know, those are excused and understandable, because I mean, you know, if you go have shoulder surgery done, you're gonna go way over your 6 in that 12-month period.
How would they know?
But that,
Is that in there? Anywhere?
I mean, FMLA is going to be over in, I think, under leave of absence. But I mean, we can add that in there.
I was looking at it as like a new employee, wondered, okay, well, what happens if this happens? I don't want to get this one.
Right. We can add that in there.
I also do have a question before we move on. In the past calendar year, does that mean last year, January through December, or is it the previous 12 months? Because that's 2 different things.
Good point. Maybe that could say within a 12-month period.
I don't know what the intent was. Are you just trying to look at all of last year, or are you trying to look at if right now is, or let's say it's March, are you looking at February and then to the 12 months prior?
I mean, I would say in the 12 months prior.
Okay, then I would change that then,
Yeah.
to 12 months prior, or the prior 12 months. Previous.
Last but not least on this one, the sick time donation requirements, they were lined out by date, what you could donate or what you had to have left over in your sick bank to donate. And the last date was August 1st of 2021. And we decided that instead of having that there and either trying to rearrange the dates or do anything different, we just said 192 hours. So in order to donate, you must have 192 hours of sick time left in your bank before you donate. So that makes it a little less confusing.
What's the reasoning behind that? Just out of curiosity, because I've never seen that before.
For the donation?
I know, I understand the donation, but like in previous jobs, they've never said that I had to have so many hours left over after I donated. So I just want.
I think, I mean, I can't speak to why they put it in here in the beginning, because I didn't put it in there. But my presumption on that would be is because we don't want to see you exhaust your sick bank and then you have an issue and you don't have to cover yourself. So that way, at least something there in case something happens to you. You know, that I can't go donate all my time to paramedic so-and-so because they had surgery and they can't come to work for the next 6 to 8 weeks. And then I walk out there and get hit by a car and I can't take off, or I'm off work, but I'm not gonna get paid now because I've given all my funds away. That would be the reason probably behind why, but.
In 192 hours, how many shifts?
I'm getting there.
Well, you're on it.
Eight 24-hour shifts.
So I mean, you'll have almost, that'd be almost.
So it's almost a month, because it's 10 and 24 is a month.
If you're on the receiving end, drawing from the sick leave pool, is there any dead time in there or is it immediate?
No, I mean, you'll, as soon as somebody donates it, goes to your bank and you can start collecting that.
I know when the school district set theirs up, everybody was done one day to throw into the sick leave pool, and then if you got low, you add in again. But to draw from the pool, you had to be off 3 days, I think, before you could draw from the pool. If you were out.
It's not a pool,
We have
it's not a pool.
It's not a pool. It's a direct donation.
It's basically after 24 hours, and I donate to flow, and it goes,
Okay.
that goes to my
You
name.
can designate who you're donating. All right, never mind that. Thank you.
I think that is all for these policies. I'll probably have some more come next meeting, but I figured we'd go get these out of the way. So.
Are there any other questions on the handbook policy updates? Now they take a motion to approve those. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. I take a motion to go into closed session pursuant to RSMO 610.021, sections 9.
So
All in favor, and that'll be roll call.
Gertie,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.